and welcome to the Misostudies.com. Student, in this session we are again discussing the important aspect from the NEET Biology, and in this session we are going to consider the chapter that is the locomotion and movement. So let's start the session and discuss the important aspect from locomotion and movement in the form of question one by one. So start the session with the first question. The first one is, if a membrane undergoes rapid contraction and relaxation, the sarcoplasmic reticulum requires constant plugging in and out of calcium ions. Option B, rapid synthesis of myosin. Option C, do not require energy. And option D, all of these. We all know that sarcoplasmic reticulum is generally a specialized smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And these are present in the muscle cells which stores calcium 2+ ions. In the sarcoplasmic reticulum, that are generally occur in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum requires generally or occur in the two phase. First is a contraction and next is a relaxation phase. Both the phase are following one another. So starting during contraction phase. First we discuss about the contraction phase. In the contraction phase of muscle, calcium 2+ ions are released that are released from sarcoplasmic lumen to sarcoplasm. Here was the first case that was discussed under the contraction phase, from which sarcoplasmic lumen to sarcoplasm there is a release of calcium 2+ ions. In the next case, that is during relaxation phase. Next one is during relaxation phase of muscle, calcium 2+ ions are pumped back into lumen from sarcoplasm to sarcoplasmic lumen. So in the relaxation phase, calcium 2+ ions are pumped back in the sarcoplasmic lumen. So according to all this, we just consider about if a muscle undergoes rapid contraction and relaxation, because both the cycles are followed one after the another, the rapid contraction and relaxation, it generally requires constant plugging off in and out of calcium 2 plus ions from sarcoplasmic reticulum. Sarcoplasmic reticulum, there is a constant plugging of in and out of the calcium ions, and that requires in both the cycles. In the contraction, the movement of calcium ion from sarcoplasmic lumen to the sarcoplasm, and in relaxation there is a opposite or contradict to the contraction one. In this, the calcium ions is released or pumped back into the lumen from the sarcoplasm. So according to the discussion, we got to know that the right answer for the question is option A. Let mark the right one in the given option. So here is option A, that mentioned required constant plugging of in and out of calcium 2 plus ion. Yes, we discussed about both the processes in contraction and relaxation. There is a constant plugging of in and out of the calcium ion. So this is all about the question 1. Let's move on to the question number 2 from the locomotion and movement. The next question is, the reaction which change lactic acid into glycogen come under option A, Calvin's cycle, option B, Cori's cycle, option C, Krebs cycle, option D, glycolysis. For solving the given question, we all know that Cori's cycle occur in muscles and leaner. In liver, 1/5 of lactic acid, 1/5 of lactic acid is oxidized. 1/5 of lactic acid is oxidized to form CO2 and H2O. CO2 and H2O, and the rest 4/5 part of lactic acid, they are synthesized into glycogen. Glycogens are generally synthesized in glycogen, and that generally synthesization occur in liver. Here are two categories in liver, one for the 1/5 of lactic acid and another is the 4/5 of lactic acid. The glycogen that are synthesized in liver release glucose, and that glucose relation in the blood, which then again reconverted into the glycogen in the muscle. So here the conversion of the first glycogen that are released in liver, it then converted into the blood, in the form of glucose when there is a requirement, and when there is enough amount of glucose present in the blood, then these blood, or we can say the presence of glucose in blood, is reconverted into the glycogen again in the muscle. So this cycle is repeated. Which cycle? That 4/5 of lactic acid is converted into the glycogen, and the glycogen is converted into the glucose. From liver it moved to the blood, and from blood in the form of glucose it is again stored in the glycogen as the muscle. So this cycle is very important, and this cycle is going on repeating. So according to the discussion, we conclude that the right answer for the question is option B. Option B is the right one in this case. Let's mark the right one in the mentioned option. That is the Cori's cycle, the reaction which change lactic acid into glycogen. We discussed that glycogen first come from liver and move to the blood in the form of glucose, and then again back to the glycogen of muscle. So these all come under the cycle name as a Cori's cycle. The cycle was named Cori's given by the scientist who discovered that. So this is all about this question. Let's move on and discuss the next question from the locomotion and the movement. The next one is, I band is bisected by option A, Z line, option B, H zone, option C, M line, and option D, A band. To find out the solution of the mentioned question, we all know that myofibril. And what do you mean by myofibril? Myofibril are the muscle fiber that are parallel arranged filaments that are known as myofilaments or myofibril. Myofilament or myofibril. The myofibril has two zones. Number one is dark zone or dark bands, and next one is light zone and light bands are present on the myofibril. So these dark and light zones are different and they are name it as a different one. For example, the light band are also known as a I band. Here I word is also refer for the isotrophic band. The another band is A band. A band name is also named as a anisotrophic band. Anisotrophic band. So in the question there is a ask about in the presence of I band or I band is dissected by which line. So when we discuss about the myofibril, both dark and light bands, we come to know that I band has its center, and these centers are dissected by a dark membrane. These dark membranes are known as Z lines. So I bands are dissected by, and these dissected in the center dissected by the Z lines. So this is about answer of our given question, and according to the discussion we can come to conclusion that the right answer for the question is option A. Let's take the right one in the mentioned option, that is a Z line. Z line is the right one in this case. Let's move on to the next question. The next one is, originally human skeleton consists of 270 bones. which are fused to become 206. Out of these, how many bones are present in ear ossicles? In the question, there is a query that human skeleton altogether consists of 270, but after some of fusions from the adult, or when human move from infant to the adult stage, it move on to the 206 bones. Then how many bones are present in the ear ossicles? Mention option are 4, option B 6, option C 3, and option D none of these. To find out the solution of the mention option, we all know that there are 6 ear ossicles. There are 6 ear ossicles that are present in the skull of human. That are present in the skull of human beings. Out of 6, each ear has a set of 3. That's why there is a presence of 6 ear ossicles. Each ear has a set of 3. We mention it as a, out of 3 there is a presence of 1 malleus, 1 incus, and 1 stapes. So in human beings there are 2 ears present, and in each ear there is a set of 3. Out of 3, 1 bone is for malleus, 1 incus, and 1 stape. And out of these, another important aspect to be noted down from the given question is stapes is the smallest bone in human body. Smallest bone in the human body. So according to the given discussion, we come to conclude that the right answer for the question is option B. Let's mark the right one in the mentioned option, that is 6. 6 is the number for ear ossicle for both ears. In single ear there is a presence of set of 3. Let's move on and discuss the last question from Locomotion and Movement. The last one is inflammation of joints due to accumulation of uric acid crystal is called as option A gout, option B myasthenia gravis, option C osteoporosis, option D osteomalacia. To find out the solution of the mentioned option or question is that gout is actually a metabolic disorders. Gout is actually a metabolic disorders. These metabolic disorders can come under or includes the various including features. The basic features or basic symptoms are: first is recurrent attack of arthritis. Option next is, or next feature is, urate deposits in joints. Next is, apart from the joints, urate are deposited in kidney and other tissues too. Kidney and another tissues of too. And the last feature is elevated level of uric acid in blood and urine. Blood and urine. When we discuss about gout, gout is actually a metabolic disorders which includes the following features. The first one is there is a recurrent attack of arthritis. There is a unbearable pain in the joints. The next is urate deposition in joints. Not even in the joints, along with the joints, the deposition of urate is also found in the kidney and other tissues. And the last one is elevated the level of uric acid in the body, and that uric acids are generally sedimented in the blood and the urine of the humans. So in this, when we discuss about gout, joint most commonly, when we discuss about the urate deposition in joints, and the joints are most commonly of great toe. Great toe. Gout is actually a inherited disorder. Inherited disorder of purine metabolism. Purine metabolism occurring especially in the men, and after men the chances of occurring in the women. Occurrence of gout, a part of the inherited disorders, occurrence of gout is also linked with or related with your diet. Related with your diet. Persons suffering from gout should avoid meat. Should avoid meat because meat is a rich source of nucleic acid, and these nucleic acid consist both purine and pyrimidine. And gout is a metabolic disorder are generally related to the purine metabolism. Purine is harmful for the patient, so the person suffering from gout is generally avoid the meat, because by taking the meat there is a more amount of gout level increasing in their body. So this is all about the given and mentioned question. After discussing the important aspect for the mentioned question, we come to know that the right answer for the question is option A. Let's mark the right one in the mentioned option. That is option A. Gout is the right one in this case. So student, this is all about the session locomotion and the movement. Hope student you like the session. Stay tuned for the Misostudy for such more sessions. Till then, stay safe, stay home. Thank you very much.